What is going on, AZ Sports fan family? We're back at it again with another video. Today, what I want to do is give you my final 53-man roster, my prediction on who I want the Arizona Cardinals to take into the 2021 season. Absolutely super stoked about this, guys. But, of course, we might have some disagreements, but that is going to be what the comments are for. Definitely let me know what you guys think about my 53-man roster prediction. Put everything in the comments below. Without further ado, let's go just jump right into it, guys. Roll that intro. All right, guys, welcome back in. Now, like I mentioned in the intro today, what I want to do is give you my final 53-man roster. My prediction on, what I want the Arizona Cardinals to do. Put everything in the comments below, especially if you disagree with me. But like always, definitely do me one big favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to the AZ Sports Fan on YouTube. We smashed our 7K goal. We only want to get more and more. Road to 8K and hopefully to 10K by the end of this season, guys. But baby steps, it all starts with you. Definitely do me that one big favor and smash that like button. Without further ado, let's go and just jump right into it, guys. I went ahead and created a Google Doc, so that's most likely what you'll be seeing. I apologize, I said Google Doc. I meant Google Sheet. I created that. It took me about 30 minutes to an hour to build out this 53-man roster. So that's what I'm going to be showing you here once I share my screen with you guys. So let's get started. I will be starting off with offense, obviously quarterbacks, and then running backs and stuff like that. So let's get started. Share my screen here, and automatically there's people going to say, what are you doing, Mike? So let's start off with the quarterbacks here. Kyler Murray being our number one, and then number two being Colt McCoy. Now, I think the biggest thing here is that I'm not carrying three quarterbacks going into the season. The reason for that is because Chris Trevler, although he did really well in the Chiefs game, I think I'm done with the Chris Trevler experience. I think it's time for us to move on. I think Colt McCoy is a very, very good backup to Kyler Murray. He will win us some games. And obviously, all our eggs are in the basket of Kyler Murray. This is his team moving forward. So obviously Kyler Murray and then Colt McCoy being his backup. And I guess another big reason as to why I'm only carrying two is I don't want a third string quarterback that will not see the field very much. And I didn't want to cut a person that I have, in further down the depth chart as well. So let's move on to the running backs here. We got Chase Edmonds, James Conner, Jonathan Ward, and Eno Benjamin. Another discrepancy there. People are saying, why do you have four running backs? What are you doing? You're crazy. But I like Eno Benjamin. I like Jonathan Ward. Obviously, the starters for us is going to be Chase Edmonds as well as James Conner. A couple different reasons why I want to carry four. I'm a little worried with the whole injury concerns with James Conner as well as Chase Edmonds. And I don't want a team to poach our players. I like Eno. I like Jonathan Ward. So I would love for them to carry four running backs. Maybe we can use Eno more for special teams. We've seen him do it in preseason, so that would be really cool to kind of transition that type of stuff into this, 2021 roster. So that's the biggest reason why I wanted to keep four of them. This is my opinion in the matter. But let's jump into the wide receivers here, guys. I think it's obvious. DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore, Keyshawn Johnson, Greg Dortch, and Andy Isabella. And I know you're saying, what the heck, Andy Isabella? Why? I think that if we had Larry Fitzgerald, Andy Isabella would not find his way in the roster. But I do think that Cliff Kingsbury wants to give him another opportunity. And this might be his final chance, at least in the Arizona Cardinals. He might get traded later. He might get released. I don't know. But I do feel confident that the Cardinals are going to carry 7 wide receivers, and this is going to be my list here. So D-Hop, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore, Keyshawn Johnson, Greg Dortch, and Andy Isabella. And if you don't know Greg Dortch, he was a standout, in my opinion, in preseason, and I think he's a person that deserves to be on the 53-man roster and show his talents where talents is due. Keyshawn Johnson, obviously a wide receiver that we had. I think if you look at this depth chart that I made, people are going to say, why Christian Kirk over Rondell Moore? I think Christian Kirk might have the start in terms of being that third wide receiver in the slot moving into the 2021 season, but it's his job to lose. Rondell Moore's looked very, very good in the preseason. So kind of concerning. Hopefully he gets his stuff together, but this is what I like to see. 7 wide receivers going into the season. Now let's jump into the tight end role here. Tight ends. I have 3 tight ends for the Arizona Cardinals moving forward. Obviously, Max Williams, our blocking tight end, but he can also catch the ball down the field, especially with some trick plays. Darrell Daniels. And then Ross Travis. I like what I've seen at him, especially Chris Trevler dropping a dime to him, a 20-plus yarder touchdown in the preseason. Chris Trevler to Ross Travis. That I would like to see something like that as well. Now, he's 6'6". I believe he's obviously over 200 pounds. So a big option for Kyler Murray in the red zone. But obviously, I think for the most part, we will see more Max Williams and Darrell Daniels. But hey, Ross Travis would be an awesome asset, especially if somebody goes down. I would be confident with bringing him in the 53-man roster. Now let's move into the O-lineman here. Now it's a little confusing here, and I apologize. I didn't have this lined up as like, right tackle, left tackle, and all that different stuff, center. But if you take a look at the first 5, it's pretty much in order of who I feel like is going to be the starting 5. And then the rest after that is going to be the depth that we're going to take into the season here. So obviously DJ Humphries at left tackle, Justin Pugh, Rodney Hudson, Josh Jones, I feel like, is going to get the starting at right guard. And then we got Kelvin Beachum at right tackle. Now, our depth pieces that we're going to carry is Max Garcia, Brian Winters, Joshua Miles, and Michael Manette. That's just my personal opinion. I know he didn't really have a great preseason, but he was drafted in the 2021 class, so I do think he's going to be transitioning into this final 53-man roster. He might be one of those players that might not make it, but I don't know. I think he might squeeze his way in there just for depth more than anything, but I think this is what our O-line core is going to look like in terms of the Arizona Cardinals 2021. Now, obviously, we're going to move into the defense here, and the first position that I want to talk about is the outside linebacking spot, the edge rushers. Obviously, you have your left side and your right side. I didn't break that apart here as usual. I just wanted to kind of give you my list of the outside linebackers. So let's start off with Chandler Jones, obviously, Marcus Golden, Dennis Gardeck, as well as Devon Kennard and Kylie Fitz. I think they would be awesome assets moving into the 2021 season. If you take a look a little further down, Devon Kennard and Kylie Fitz, they most likely will be more of a swing type edge rushers, outside linebackers. When Chandler Jones, Marcus Golden, and Dennis Gardeck needs some rest, they will be stepping into the role and seeing if they can go ahead and help out where they need to help out. But obviously our starters are going to be Chandler Jones and Marcus Golden. We most likely will see Dennis Gardeck a lot, which I know a lot of fans would love that. And that's just my personal opinion there. But let's move on to the inside linebacking spots. And I'm going to go ahead and give you my list here. I'm taking in 4 of them, and that's going to be Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons, Jordan Hicks, and Tanner Vallejo. Our starters are going to be Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons. Backups or depth is going to be Jordan Hicks and Tanner Vallejo. Tanner Vallejo has been sticking around with the Cardinals for the past couple of years, and I don't see them moving on from them quite yet. He might have a starting role if it wasn't for these back-to-back and Jordan Hicks as well. I think he's a viable option, especially if we didn't have anybody. I think Tanner Vallejo would be very, very good. But obviously, because we have, stronger pieces, they're going to be above him. But I think he's an awesome asset for the Cardinals. Now, let's take a look at the defensive linemen. Now, kind of similar to what I did with the offensive linemen, you don't really see them breaking apart in terms of nose tackle, all that different stuff. So I just kind of have it all spread out here. So let me get to the spot that I need to. So the D lineman is going to be right here. And we're going to go ahead and go with J.J. Watt, Jordan Phillips, Corey Peters. Obviously, he was cut, but he got re-signed to the Cardinals. Licky Fotu, Zach Allen, and Rashad Lawrence. All awesome people. I think the starters are going to be J.J. Watt and Jordan Phillips for the most part. We most likely will probably see Corey Peters and Licky Fotu. The other 2 most likely swing players, depth type players. I like Zach Allen. He can never stay healthy. He can never stay on the field. But J.J. Watt is probably one of the biggest acquisitions we got in this last offseason, and I don't see the Cardinals not use them. But we already heard the coaching staff saying that we will be using him like 65% of the snaps. So give some more opportunity for Corey Peters and Leki Fotu to kind of really get in there and get the opportunity that they deserve. So that's going to be my defensive lineman. So let's move over to the cornerbacks. Quarterback spot. Now, this is kind of in order, in my opinion. It's going to be Malcolm Butler, Byron Murphy, and Robert Alford. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people say, well, Byron Murphy in the inside, all that different stuff. I think Byron Murphy has did a very, very good job on the outside, and I know Vance Joseph wanted to test him out there. We might see him most likely in the slot. This is where I would love to see Byron Murphy on the outside personally. And then the depth just kind of continues right after Robert Alford. We got Marco Wilson. I think he did a very good job in preseason, especially in the very first game. A lot of people were very excited to see what Marco Wilson can do in the Chiefs game. We didn't really hear his name get called out a lot, but that game was kind of weird to begin with. So I'm not going to really kind of, give so much stuff to him, but I'm really excited to see what he's going to do against the Saints. After that, it's going to be Daryl Worley and then Tay Gowan. Now, here's one of the perfect examples here as to like why, if we kept 3 quarterbacks, the Chris Streveler, Tay Gowan would have been not making the 53-man roster, and that's not a world that I want to live in. I like Tay Gowan. I love what he's doing with the fans. He's very, very fan friendly, and I kind of like that stuff. That's the type of players that fans want to root for. So I think he can make a awesome asset for this Cardinal team. So that's why I went ahead and snuck him in there. He's probably not going to be a starter this year, maybe next year once he gets a little bit more fine tuning, but I like what I've seen from him so far. Next, let's move into the safeties. The safeties we have is Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson. I think those two are going to be our 2 starters. But the Jalen Thompson thing, I know he's been hurt a couple times, which is very concerning. So it's kind of a swing for me, honestly. I would love to see if Jalen Thompson doesn't make it in? Chris Banjo. I think Chris Banjo did a very good job, and I think he would be awesome right next to Budda Baker. And then obviously for depth, we got Charles Washington as well as James Wiggins, which is a rookie that we ended up getting in this last draft. So Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson are my starters. But if Jalen Thompson gets hurt or it doesn't make it in terms of can't stay healthy, then I think Chris Banjo would be an awesome asset. And then obviously more depth would be Charles Washington and James Wiggins. Let's move on to the final spot here, which is kicker and punter. Obviously Matt Prater and Andy Lee. They're both veterans, but they're both great at what they do. What they do in their craft is amazing. So this is my final 53-man roster prediction. Let me know what you guys think about it. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Thank you so very much for tuning in and watching this video. But yeah, let me know everything. If you guys disagree with me, guys, put it in the comments below, guys. Thank you so very much. Have a great rest of your